Welcome to the bonus level.
And welcome back to level 7 of the bonus level podcast. It is me, Luch, here with two amazing people. Jack, why don't you start off by saying hi?
Hi, everyone. It's Jack.
And Josh.
Hi, guys.
Alrighty. Josh fell on his head today, so please forgive him. Well, as I said, welcome to level 7 of the bonus level podcast. It is awesome to have you guys back again. We definitely appreciate those people who come down and listen to us week after week. We really appreciate it, all the support. We do want to keep in mind that we do have a YouTube channel. So if you guys ever want to drop a comment on there and let us know how we're doing, that would be fantastic as well. But guys, tell me, how's your week been?
Actually, I don't want to get right into it, but I've been having some internet trouble. And I know we haven't, and just want to throw it out there for anyone listening. If for some reason you feel like, man, Jack sure doesn't sound as glorious as he normally does, as smooth and as silky, it's because I have internet problems. I'm not, it's not me. So I'm just putting the blame off onto something else, just so you know.
It actually really isn't him. He is actually sick right now. This is Chives replacing him, so you might hear some robotic aftertones. Yeah. Just ignore it. It'll be gone. It'll be gone next week. Just Chives is filling in today. And Josh, how's your week been, my man?
Pretty good so far. I do have some news. I did crack this week on an old habit.
Oh
no.
Luckily though, it was not smoking.
It was vaping.
No, even worse. So I had one of my really good friends come into town, and we met up for lunch, had a couple beers, we're talking, and I went home and re-downloaded World of Warcraft and started playing again.
I noticed.
I had been clean for like 6 months, I think.
How's that going for you?
It's so freaking fun.
Man, it's such a shame.
I totally forgot that you even played WoW.
Back on the wagon.
I see that it's struck me this week. I see that you guys don't care about my week.
See, it's the host's curse.
But if you are super curious, my week has been pretty okay. We had some work stuff, so that's why unfortunately the podcast is a day late.
Mm-hmm.
But other than that, I mean, doing all right. Hanging in there. Got a promotion at work, so that's going by pretty cool.
Buddy.
Congratulations.
Yeah. Shout out to all the support, especially from that guy. He's been great. But anyways, other than this promotion that I got, it's almost like I could kind of see it coming, out of nowhere. I don't know if you guys have ever had that kind of feeling. What's it called again, Jack? I think you know the word.
It's called a premonition. And actually, that's funny that you bring that up. So I wanted to kind of get you guys' feedback, have a little conversation on what you think about that. I mean, I know that everybody and people listening to, I know everybody has had that deja vu moment in the past, right? Where you swear that you've either been in that moment before, or you had a dream about this exact thing that's happening, and you just get that like weird feeling, like I've seen this before, I've done this before, and it happens a lot. And I wanted to ask you guys, what you thought about that. Do you think it's something that's like, you go into the whole parallel universes and it's just the time and space kind of just rubbing against each other? Or do you think that sometimes we have this like extra sense of like seeing something before it happens and you get that like weird feeling, right?
Yeah.
It's actually the Matrix resetting its servers.
Don't say that. Josh will go off on a tangent.
But I've had that like deja vu moments where I'd be walking out of a Target and then I would see a red car and I was like, man, that red car looks super familiar. This whole scene in my head played out the same way I feel like I've seen before. I don't know if I feel it on like a interdimensional parallel universe type level. Mm-hmm. But I feel like if time travel existed, it would only exist to go into the future. So I don't know if if that means anything. But
let me just say as a pretense, we will not be talking about time travel on this week's episode because we will lose ourselves into a hour-long rant by yours truly about time travel. So we're going to stay away from that part of it. But again, and Josh, I'll come back to you as far as your feeling on it. So this week alone, and this is why I wanted to bring it up and talk about it. So this week alone, I've had 2 separate instances where I swear to you, I had a feeling that something was going to happen, and then it literally happened within a day. And looking back on it, I'm like, wow, I literally just was like, that's weird. Something's going to happen. So first example was, so Nicole works, obviously as a trainer and does a bunch of other things and works from home. So she works out of here a lot and is on conference calls and calling and doing all this stuff on the phone. For some reason the other day, she had to do a conference call, and I thought in my head, about an hour before one of her calls, that it would be really weird. I just thought this feeling in my head, like it'd be really weird if like we had a conversation and then she realized that the phone was not on mute when she was on her conference call and everybody on the call could hear. Jeez. So like I just had this like weird feeling, like, and I told myself, hey, I should remind her to just make sure your phone's always on mute when you're on the calls, because like she'll be on the call and like we'll chat or whatever, the dogs will bark. And I kid you not, that conference call, she was talking to me and then realized she was not on mute. Now, luckily, it was only for a few seconds, and it was just like one of those like, oh my god, I wasn't on mute just then. What did I say? Yeah, what did they hear? You know what I mean? And so that was just like a really, really weird moment.
So where do you think that premonition came from?
I don't know. That's the thing, is that I don't know. And so that was the first one, right? So, and I'm going to lead into the second one, and then I'll kind of like go from there.
Yeah.
So yesterday I went out to. Let me back up a second. Whenever I get like a Uber Eats or a delivery or UPS or anything like that, I usually try to keep Zyra away from the front door because she is super protective of the house. She barks and just goes crazy. So the front of the house faces the road, and I think it was Uber Eats maybe pulled up, and she was at the window. And what she does is she gets under the blinds and gets up on the window and like literally presses her paws against the glass and barks. And she sounds mean, it's menacing, and she's like hitting her paws on the glass. And as I was walking outside and heard her doing that, like pounding on the glass, I thought to myself, I need to figure out a way to get her to either not know that there's somebody outside, like take her in another room, or do something about this glass, because one of these times she's going to break this glass. Tonight, she put her paws through the glass.
Oh, geez.
The dog is okay, folks. She was not harmed in the making of this podcast.
Luckily was not cut, was not hurt. Glass everywhere outside, glass inside, but somebody was outside on the road walking by. She thought he was coming up the driveway, and she went crazy at the window and literally broke the glass. And I swear to God, I mean, I've been living in this house for 6 months. I never had that feeling until yesterday. Happened today.
That's so crazy.
So I don't know. Like, is that? I know it happened twice today, but being as I like to think it is. I'm sorry. I have to think that's a coincidence.
Both of those didn't happen today. The first one happened on Monday or Tuesday rather, and the other one happened today. So it was in the past 2 days.
But they both happened on the same day. I mean, you're not sending some kind of mystical energy toward that glass to snap when Zyra decided to put her paws on there. I mean,
no. And obviously, I don't think I like willed it into life. I just think that like I had this feeling of like, this is what I should do. Like I knew that I should take steps to fix what was going to happen, and then it happened. And I was like looking back on it, I'm like, holy shit! Why didn't I just the next time I had to go get something outside? Why didn't I just take her in the other room?
Yeah,
because I had that thought, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, but
I don't know. I don't feel like I've ever had any that have been that far apart. Like I get them a lot of times when driving, where there's just something about a certain car that you just see it and you're like, that car's up to no good. I need to just get another lane over or slow down and let someone else in front of me or whatever. Like, you just get these weird vibes from things. But I don't think I've.
Okay, that's like spider sense.
Yeah,
that's exactly that's what
that's what I'm saying.
is.
Like I feel like I have the instantaneous spider sense in some scenarios, but I don't think I've had some with as much delay as what Jack's talking about.
But I don't think there's any time restriction on it. I think that it's
so let's think about logically and scientifically. Okay, so maybe it's your brain calculating that something might happen because Jack, you thought something would happen. Like her phone being unmuted or her phone not being muted, and then you thought that Zyra might put her hand or her paws through the glass. So maybe that's your brain calculating, like, oh no,
there's
the possibilities that could happen, the probability of this happening. For you, Josh, you could be like, my God, that guy has some whiskey in his hand and is on the phone. I feel like if I'm next to this guy, I'm going to die.
Yeah,
it's like I don't know. Maybe it's just your brain over calculating and then trying to come up with the probability of something happening.
On one hand, I agree with you because I think that if you want to look at it logically, you can explain it that way. However, I will take it all the way back to one of the first times that I can remember it happening to me. I was driving really late at night. Was when I lived in Central PA, and I was driving back from visiting my parents in Pittsburgh. And I had been driving about 3 hours, and I was really close to home, and I was stopped at a T intersection, and with my blinker on, turning left, and it was probably like 1 o'clock in the morning, and I'm sitting there, and the light turns green. I have a protected arrow, well, not even a protected arrow because it's a T, so I have an arrow, and something told me to wait a second. I don't know what it was. Something just said, "Hold on, don't go, just a second." A tractor trailer blew the red light and went straight in front of me.
Jeez.
So that's not logical. That's not something that like you can calculate.
Yeah,
that's what we call a gut feeling. Now that's just
that's my point though. Where does that come from? Where does that? You know what I mean? Like if I would have just pressed the gas and went like any normal person does, I would have gotten T-boned by a tractor trailer going through a red light at 1 o'clock in the morning. You know what I mean? So is that like supernatural? Is that guardian angel kind of stuff, or is that just like that's my point, is that these premonitions or these kind of feelings, these deja vu moments, are they more of like an extra sense, a sixth sense as it were, something else that's telling you like that your brain's working on a higher frequency that's like, hey, this is about to happen, kind of like the spider sense?
Yeah,
I think again, I don't think it's anything supernatural because I don't know what would be affecting it supernatural. Normally, you can still explain something that is, in a sense, whether, I say you said like guardian angels and stuff like that, but how, maybe it could just be like some kind of, different sense of hypersensitivity or something. Maybe just your mind's like, all right, I've seen this somewhere before, maybe in a movie, maybe it's happened to me before, maybe I saw it as a kid. I don't like this right now. Maybe I'll take a break real quick. And then zoom, car goes by and you're like, Fast and Furious.
I knew that was about to happen. I don't know, man. It's on one hand, you can, like I said, you can try to logic it away and be like, yeah, your brain is just functioning on a higher level and it's calculating the probability of things like that happening. Like my brain hears Zyra pounding on the glass with her paws, so it's like, damn, she needs to stop doing that or she's going to break that glass. And
exactly.
then literally it happens the next day. So it's more of like a logical coincidence. You know what I mean?
But only for that one. I know what you're saying with like the car thing.
Yeah.
I feel like when it's in your perspective, when it's in your peripheral, that you're like seeing and hearing Zyra bang on the windows, you're like, that glass is going to break one day, I swear. And then, but like the car thing, I know where you're coming from. Like you're doing nothing, you're minding your own business, and then you're like, I'm gonna wait here a second, and then it drives right past you, and you're like, oh man, my gut was right on this one.
Yeah.
See, that one I can't really explain too logically. I don't know exactly where that comes from, but the ones that happen in your peripheral, one that you see, like Jack or like Josh seeing the sketchy car.
Yeah,
that's like in your peripheral. You're seeing that happening, and your brain's calculating that.
Yeah.
When you get the gut feelings, like, oh, Oh God, like
I just don't feel good about this right now.
Yeah.
should I really be at my girlfriend's house at this time, or are her parents going to come home type of feeling? And then like they come home and you're like, oh shit, her dad doesn't like me too much, type of thing.
Or or like the gut feeling I get every time I go in the ocean.
Yeah.
Like the sharks they all know that I'm in there.
Well,
One day,
that's
one
the
day,
thing,
one day
too,
it'll
is
happen.
because it's I think it's because sometimes we could have a million other ones that are wrong. Like you go into the ocean, you feel like something bad's going to happen, nothing bad happens, and you just shake it off. But then you have one, and that thing does come true, and you're like, "Freaking, I'm a fortune teller, dude."
I knew that was going to happen.
Give me your hand. I'm going to read your palm. It's because it's just hard to be able to look at your track record on it and just, I don't know. But yeah, I think sometimes you could just maybe be hypersensitive to everything that's going on around you and just, I don't know, playing scenarios in your head, like really thinking things through clearly, like the situation with the phone and her just, thinking through, okay, what was I doing the last time I was on a conference call? Was I thinking about this? What do I go through a checklist when I'm on a conference call? Like just being hypersensitive just to your everything that's going on around you, I guess maybe.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's definitely a weird phenomenon. I definitely think, again, the one in the peripheral, that's your brain calculating, but then the ones that you feel, that comes from your gut. That's when you, what's that called? Murphy's Law type thing?
No, Murphy's Law is whenever the worst possible thing that could happen will happen. As in, like, if you drop a peanut butter and jelly sandwich, like it's always going to land on the peanut butter side on the floor, kind of thing.
Yeah.
So wait, you're still going to pick it up and eat it even if it landed dead down?
5-second rule.
I mean, Zyra would get that before you even bent over.
You're damn right she would.
But
anyways, I think at the end of the day, I was more, thinking of the premonition or deja vu feeling in the non-logical sense and just using those two as a starting example, but more talking about like, where is that gut feeling come from? Where does your spider sense come from? We don't have superpowers. We can't fly or shoot webbing out of our hands. Well, most of us can't.
No,
it's like, where does it come
there is
from?
one thing though that I'm really interested in learning a lot more stuff on. That I heard a talk the other day about DNA memory, and I don't know if you guys heard about this study, but basically they took chickens in a lab, and a couple generations of chickens in the lab, never been outside the lab. The only thing they'd ever seen was the inside of this room. And they took these little baby chickens and they took shapes and they flew the shapes across the top of the room with like a string or whatever. And they did circle, square, all these different things. Chickens never did anything. They took a shape of a hawk and flew it across the top of the room, and the chickens freaked out. And it's like, okay.
So that just sounds like instinct, though.
Well, that's the thing. I mean, it's 4 generations down that they've never seen a hawk. They don't know what it is. They've never even seen grass and been outside, but still just the shadow of a hawk on the floor made them freak out. Where it's like, okay, where's these instincts, these things coming from, deep inside? And do we have these things deeply ingrained in us from something that we don't know or we can't explain?
But I would 100% agree with you as far as that goes. I mean, we know what's right.
But my argument
and
to that is that the chickens, all right, the chickens in general, the chicken population has been suffering from the hawks feeding on them over the generations.
That's what he's saying.
But Jack, you have had one life and you've never been hit by a car before and died. Am I wrong?
I mean,
I'm speaking to chives right now, but still,
you're not wrong.
But like, see that's where it's coming from. Like those chickens.
But we're also, our parents' kids and their parents' grandkids. You know what I mean? So like, it's the same thing as what he's saying is DNA memory. Like all of that has been passed down since.
But see, don't you think it would take a long time for something like that to go on? How long has the red stoplight existed for?
I don't know. Probably 40s?
Oh, your chives, find out.
Oh, that's true. Yeah.
No, I understand what Luch is saying. I mean, and I'm not even disagreeing. Like I said, I don't know hardly anything about this whole subject, and I would love to learn a lot more on it. That was one of the reasons that I brought it up, because I don't know how it works, if there's something along the lines of, as long as the subject's close enough, then it can work, or if it's just flat out flight and fight kind of scenario, or just survival instincts that kick in, that it doesn't have to know what a car is. Like, your mind can associate that to something else that maybe, happened to humans in the past, a stampede or a carriage.
But the only thing about that DNA memory is then that means that the DNA is being shared like iCloud storage.
I know that's what's really interesting about it. So then
there's an almighty god chicken up in the sky who's collecting all the data from previous chickens and then implanting it in other chickens.
Right.
But Jack, when the stoplight was created, Jack's great grandmother was probably alive.
1868, the first stoplight.
1868. So great grandmother. Sorry. So
and
great grandmother was.
Just as a side note, just real quick, Chives just gave me this info. Not only was the first stoplight invented in 1868, but it was operated by gas, and the first one exploded and killed a police guy.
Oh.
So
wow, Josh, that was very morbid. It wasn't supposed to be funny.
No, it definitely was.
Talk about someone running a stop sign or a red light or something like that. The first guy ran a red light 30 seconds later, but no, it exploded and killed somebody.
Oh, man.
But that's what I'm saying. So in 3 generations, Jack's instincts grew to a heightened sense that at every red light that he feels that a car is about to speed past, he's going to be able to know. That's just my theory be debunked from that.
I think those are 2 separate topics. I think that those are 2 separate things. Knowing that the hawk is a predator as a chicken is something that is instinctually ingrained. That's just the same reason that the hawk knows that the chicken is prey. You know what I mean? It's a hawk. It knows. It's just I mean, a bear is a carnivore, a tiger. It's the same. Everything knows its place already when it's born.
Yeah. But guys, if you guys out there listening, if give us your idea on where you think premonitions come from, please let us know what your ideas are. We want to hear from you.
Yeah, I would actually love to hear some opinions on premonition and deja vu moments. I know that other people have had those same kind of moments.
Yeah, everybody does. Even I do, and I still can't, explain it all the way. But we want to hear from you guys, so please let us know what your thoughts are, and we would definitely love to hear it. But back onto the guy exploding from a gas powered stoplight. I know that's pretty morbid, but you know what else is pretty morbid?
It's time to pick some bones.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
There's nothing morbid about. Well, yeah, maybe. Okay. So I've spent a lot of time thinking how I'm going to explain this this bone I have to pick. And so I think what I'm going to do is I'm just going to explain the situation specifically out there. So basically what happened here was a family member of mine was in an accident. They did not call me. They called a family member of mine and talked to them about it, who then that family member of mine called me and talked to me about it. Now, for those of you that do not know my past, I've worked in some sort of insurance for the past 10 years. I just recently got out of it, but I've been working with the same insurance company for the past 6 years. I know a whole lot about this stuff. And when I heard about what this person was doing at the scene of the accident and everything, it about made my head explode because they were just doing everything wrong. So basically,
hold on, Josh. So if you're saying the first in 7 levels, this one's not about Jack?
Correct. I don't think he got in an accident this week, so no, he's good.
All right, continue.
Yeah, so what this one, what happened was a person was taking a turn, getting off an interstate, and there was a keep moving sign. They stopped at the keep moving sign, and because they couldn't merge over or whatever, someone rear-ended them. So they immediately thought, oh, it's my fault. It said keep moving. I stopped. I got hit. And so they're telling the cops, oh, no, it was my fault. I stopped in a keep moving area, and all this, which if you know anything about insurance, and I mean, pretty much we all have to get it for our cars. I think it's required all across the U.S. Claiming liability to it can cause a billion different issues. With the fact that you are responsible for paying your deductible on your vehicle now, it can make your insurance rates go up. You can get a ticket from the police officer, which could be, who knows what amount. And so it's just like, in that kind of situation, even if you are at fault, you never claim responsibility at that time. You say, I'm going to let my insurance company handle it. I need to talk with them before I do it, whatever it may be. And I talked to the person, luckily, before things got too far, because as soon as it was actually my mom told me about it, I immediately called this family member and was like, do not claim any responsibility. Like, I went through the whole rundown with them, and they're like, oh, well, I didn't want to, bother you with it. And, what do you mean you didn't want to bother me with it? Like, this is all I've done for the past 10 years. Like, please bother me with, like, it bothers me more to know the fact that you're going to be out a $500 deductible, your insurance rates are that's going to make me angry every time I see you for the next 6 months. Or, I mean, because technically an accident
just add salt to injury. Damn.
Yeah, no, I will be angry every time I see that person if they do something dumb like that instead of calling me. It's like, I have this experience. I put it out there that this is what I do, and so my bone, kind of to wrap things up in a nutshell, is when friends and family know that we work in a particular field, and they either don't use us, which I'm sure you guys have dealt in a situation like that, or they
I work in the cell phones
so much on stupid stuff.
Yeah.
Which I'm sure that you guys probably get a lot more of that kind of thing working in the cell phone industry, or at least people asking for free upgrades or free phones or, discounts or whatever it may be. But I don't know. So that was basically my bone to pick, was having to, I about strangled them.
I think you're like in like the 2% of people, Jack. Just like imagine this with me real quick. Let's say that person completely ignored Josh's advice, right? They're sitting at like Thanksgiving dinner, right? They're across from each other, and Josh is just staring at them intensely, and he's just like whispering, like,
"You did that,
just, F you, man." And he's like, "What did I do?" He's like, "You know what you did." Don't know how to take advantage of your insurance and company.
Well, you guys want to say 15%?
Is it Geico? Did you work for Geico?
No, he didn't.
No, I did not.
Oh.
But yeah. So what I wanted to do with this bone is it made me think about the fact that I do have a lot of experience in the insurance world, that I'm going to basically play out that scenario for you, and what would your best option be, and also what the law is in that particular situation. Now, I know that that's a specific one, and so I would like to, in upcoming weeks, give a little bit more broad explanation on things, or if someone has any particular insurance questions, like, I know way too much about this kind of crap that I should be able to help you guys out with it. But like I explained, the situation was they were getting off the exit. It was a keep moving. They stopped because they couldn't merge over, and they got hit from behind. And that kind of situation, you can't be at fault if you get hit from behind. I don't know if you guys are aware of that.
Yes. Whoever rear ends who normally is at fault, unless the person intentionally slams on their brakes in front of you.
Even
right?
if you would have to intentionally slam on the brakes and then say, I didn't like the person behind me, so I slammed on my brakes to mess them up. Because, like, honestly, if you're on the interstate and there's a tire in the middle of the road, or a deer jumps out in front of you and you slam on your brakes and someone hits you, it does not matter. The person who rear ends you is always cited at either traveling too fast for conditions, or traveling too close to somebody. Does not matter if the road says, or the signs say, keep moving. does not matter one bit, because you still, as a driver, have to do what you think is the safest in those scenarios. And if you don't have an area to be able to merge over, even though your thing says keep moving, you have every right to stop there. So in that kind of situation, like I said, first off, this person wasn't at fault and they thought that they were. Then, like I said, they were claiming fault. Never claim fault. Always say, I'm going to talk to my insurance company and I'm going to let them handle this. You can give all your information to the police officer. And yes, always deal with a police officer after an accident. Do not say...
Well, yeah, you got to, or you're not going to get anything from your insurance company.
Well, it's I dealing in the insurance world for as long as I did, there were people that would come in all the time and go, this person was really nice. I didn't want to file it against, their insurance. They said they would pay out of pocket. You don't realize what body shops charge for this stuff now. Because it used to be 5-10 years ago, you bump someone in the bumper. It was a little bit of paint that they had to buff out and put back on. It was a $200-$300 thing. Now, because cars have backup cameras, they got sensors in the bumper. You hit a bumper, it's a $2,000 job. So this person is all of a sudden, they're thinking, I'll pay for it out of pocket. It's probably not too bad, probably $200-$300. You take it to a body shop and you get a $2,000 bill. You send it to that person. They're like, I can't do that. Bye. And then they disappear. They ghost on you. I have seen that situation happen tons of times. So you just always call the cops, let them deal with the situation, give the police all your insurance information. You'll get it from the other person. When it comes time to file a claim, all you have to do is get the police report. It will have the police statement in there of everything that happened. Be honest in this kind of scenario. If you lie, it's karma. Like, it's not an insurance rule. It's a rule of the world. Just be honest with things, man, and stuff will work out. Yeah. But I don't know. Do you guys have any questions, or is that pretty straightforward?
No, I just wanted to make sure, because I don't know if you mentioned it or not, but this new segment is going to be called "Let Me Learn You Something."
Let me learn you something.
So. I haven't quite figured out what I want to call it yet, and I would like to get you guys involved in this too, because I'm sure over your years of working these different jobs, you guys have some pretty good experience that you could pass on to people.
Yes.
Yeah, I mean, any kind of tidbit information definitely helps. Anybody.
This was just one that hit very close to home for me this week. So I was like, I don't know if people, because I thought I've known this person, better half of a decade. Like, you should have picked up a few things from me over that amount of time, but apparently they did not. And so it's like, okay, well, maybe other people don't know this as well. So let me go ahead and just tell people.
Yeah, and it's that kind of information can definitely help someone in the future. I'm definitely not one of those, because I would just keep moving.
Well, merging over, get out my way.
I just wouldn't get into an accident.
But anyways, speaking of accidents, all right, and an insurance company cannot help with the damage from this train wreck of a situation going down right now. Guys, I'm sure you've seen the BlizzCon videos. I'm sure some people have seen it out there. Most of our viewers probably have seen it. So the BlizzCon, right, one of the biggest events in gaming history, has happened not too long ago.
History.
And
it happens every year.
It happens every year. But, it's a very large convention. It's on par with E3 type of thing. QuakeCon, all those things. It's like one of the biggest ones.
One of the biggest events.
And guys, are you excited for Diablo 4?
Oh, yeah.
Excited for what?
Diablo 4, wasn't it announced this year?
Yeah.
It wasn't it?
But I think you're mispronouncing the name of it.
Oh, you're right. Diablo Immortal.
Yes, that's it. It's not 4, it's Immortal. How could you confuse those things?
Well, I'm just so excited to be able to download it on the Blizzard client, be able to play it on my PC with you guys.
You're mispronouncing it again.
Oh, is it not?
It's phone, not PC. Gosh, you and your words tonight.
Wait, it's on phone?
It's I know that PC and mobile sound close to each other, but you got to really sound them out. Use phonetic language and it's phone.
Okay, well, I can't believe you, because I don't believe this, because it's been over 6 years since they introduced their last Diablo game. You're telling me that the next Diablo game that they're going to be releasing, okay, all right, you're telling me, Jack, that this is going to be for a mobile device.
Yeah, you know how you said it's for PC? You thought it was for PC? You're just dyslexic. It's actually CP, cell phone. not PC, personal computer. It's backwards. You got them mixed up.
I mean, as you know, the Blizzard representatives say, everybody has a phone. Do you not have a phone, Jack?
Do you guys not have phones? Speaking of phones, do you guys not have phones? I have a phone. Do you have a phone?
I have a phone.
Well, if you have a phone, you can play Diablo Immortal.
Guys, the videos of this guy and just looking at his face as the people are booing him down, imagining them throwing fruit at this guy.
Fruit. They're throwing feces, my friend.
His voice was shaking so hard. I thought he was going to cry on stage.
Let me tell you something. That guy ate his supervisor's sandwich one day, and he was like, you know what, sir? We're going to actually allow you to talk about our new Diablo game in front of thousands of PC enthusiasts.
That would have been the best prank ever.
I guarantee you, the whoever put him up to that job was like, dude, this is going to go over so good. They're going to love it. You're going to go out there. You're going to crush it. Don't worry. They slapped him on the back and threw him out on stage. Go get him, champ. And then literally as it started happening, all of those higher up people, just imagine the Homer Simpson meme right now. They're just slowly sinking back into the bushes as he just gets obliterated on stage.
Dude, I felt so bad for the guy, the way he looked. We're gonna have Chives post a video of this or a photo of what this guy looked like during this conference. Man, he was not having good. Guys, they were booing at him. They were asking questions that were so this is a out of season April Fool's joke, right?
Yeah.
That this game is going to be on mobile. It's not like I have a $3,000 PC that I've spent years trying to build just so I can play Diablo 4 in 4K, so I can play on PC. And then they were just the memes alone. CP, sorry.
No, and honestly though, I feel really bad for him as far as being, he's obviously just the guy to go announce it, right? He's the PR guy.
Oh yeah.
And honestly, that would be me. I mean,
was he a developer?
I don't know. Maybe he was a dev. I don't know.
I think he said it was a developer.
He's the face, right? He was the guy that they sent out. Here you go. Like I said, it's going to go over great. You're going to do awesome. You're going to go out there. You're going to show it off. They're going to love it. They're going to applaud you. You're going to be the hero. Yeah. And then he goes out there and it's literally, he's the devil himself. He's
the first. One of the first things he said, guys, we are so happy to introduce our new Diablo game mobily. And then just a shock and horror in the audience faces, just and quiet as can be. He's looking for a reaction,
clapping,
maybe a nice little clap, anything, and then he just nothing, and you just see him. You see that first little, the
little quiver.
The little quiver on the oh shit, guys! I don't think they want this game.
It was hard to watch for sure.
Yeah,
it was. I've never seen anything like that.
It's not his fault, right? There's a bigger committee, a bigger group of people that decide these things. Even if you worked on it,
what
right?
I was trying to figure out is how do you do no market research? It would take 2 seconds to type out a poll on Twitter and go, would you guys like a mobile game or Diablo 4? And just watch the shit show that happens on Twitter after just making that comment and go, oh, maybe we shouldn't do that.
I mean, but the thing is, do they really even care anymore? Blizzard is a titan in gaming right now. There isn't one person who hasn't heard at least one of their games. Even my mother, who knows nothing about gaming's heard of World of Warcraft. It's just one of those things that's a part of pop culture now. They even made a cinematic movie of it.
Yeah.
And full CGI. It was crazy. And
crazy. And somebody, and it's funny that you mentioned that though, is because somebody at some point was like, yo, this movie is gonna be awesome. Go out there and just kill it. It's gonna do great. It's gonna be awesome. They're gonna love it.
I liked it.
And then the same thing happened.
I liked the movie. Thank you very much.
Okay.
But I don't know what it is.
Because I'm a big fan of the game, Warcraft as a whole. I started back on Warcraft 1, 2, 3, World of Warcraft, all that kind of stuff. So to me, it was fun to get to see things more drawn out. They should have done so many of these different gaming companies now, their cinematics are incredible. It's like, holy crap, do a 2-hour long cinematic and you will blow people's minds. But no, they want to do their live action. They want to do this or that, whatever. And it's like, okay, so yeah, it wasn't as good as what it could have been. And I understand a lot of people were disappointed. Overall, though, I had a lot of fun with it. I enjoyed the movie.
It wasn't too bad. I mean, the effects were done great. The storytelling was a bit meh. But as all three of us have a mutual friend named Caleb. He was actually on the show. He was our professional ghost dater, and and he's a huge Bethesda fanboy. I think it's his favorite company, if I'm not mistaken. And ever since after no, did I say Blizzard? Didn't I?
You said Bethesda. That's you.
Oh, my bad. I'm sorry. I meant Blizzard. He's definitely a big fan of Bethesda. I know he can't wait to play Fallout 76. But Blizzard being one of his favorite companies, I know all three of us have been hearing it since the convention ended, and just like, just the disappointment. Yeah. Like, I don't see Caleb disappointed too often, but just like he's like, man, Luch, there's three things in this world that make me happy. Right? He goes, it's my girlfriend Wendy, it's you, Jack, Josh, Jason, all my friends, and then Blizzard games.
And right now they have let me down.
Right now they are not in his favorites right now. I feel so bad for Caleb because he was really looking forward to a Diablo game, and I don't even know what to think. 6 years. I'm a big Bethesda fanboy. I have to wait
6 years
4
since
years.
Diablo 3 has it.
I think so. Yeah.
Oh my God! Really? It's been that long?
I think so. Yeah. Diablo 3. Hang on, Chives.
There's an earthquake coming through, guys. Don't worry. Listen. Okay.
May 15th, 2012.
Ugh. Damn. 6 years. I think, but the thing with me is that Caleb's being at least rational about it. Like he's mad that this is what they chose, but he's not trashing this guy. He's not at the convention booing this guy off the stage, making him look he wants to cry. There's a difference between being upset at a company's decision, something that you support, and what they've chosen to do, and being disappointed, and then just being, a raging man child. And it's get over yourself. It's not this guy's fault.
It was a huge disappointment. I mean, these people have been waiting so long for a game. I think it was just the shock of when the guy, they didn't ease into it, first of all. All right. They weren't guys, we got a lot of exciting stuff coming with Diablo in the future. We can't wait to show you. Here's what we're working on right now. Boom. Mobile game. No, this guy was straight out of the gate, guys. What's the platform everybody wants a game made of now?
No, I mean, like I said, I understand that. And they definitely made a mistake in how they delivered it and what they did and all of that. And even just thinking that was what everybody wanted. But at the end of the day, it's a video game,
it is.
Let the man alone. For a fact that people like that, whenever they do things and they're in the public eye, they get death threats. They have people showing up at their houses. There's been so many people, and even going all the way to comic books, comic artists and storytellers that get threatened. And they have to move and do all kinds of crazy stuff.
Yeah,
because of the populate the public, the people that take these things so seriously, it's their entire life. I saw a guy who, and this is completely off topic, but it's related to what we're dealing with with people. Did you guys see the video of the man who saved his dog from the kangaroo by punching it?
Yeah.
Do you know that PETA tried to sue him, and they harassed him to the point where he was getting death threats. He was getting people showing up to his house. He had to change his name and move.
Yeah.
What? That's so crazy, guys.
Because PETA thought that it was his fault and he should have let the kangaroo do what he needed to do to the dog because the dog was bothering the kangaroo in his habitat. That's the kind of craziness that is out there in the world. This man literally saved his pet from a wild animal, and PETA was mad that he did that.
Yeah.
I mean, you don't see you see the videos of the anaconda eating a dog, or a crocodile got a dog by its leg. You never see PETA going after the people who euthanize those animals right there and then to get their dog out of there. But why a kangaroo? Aren't those like the rodents of Australia?
Yo, they're vicious, man. They'll cut you up.
Yeah, aren't they like not like really, loved in Australia?
I mean, they're
They're
cute when they're cute when they're babies, and they're still like a wild animal, and they're nice to look at. But like, they're still wild animals. They still have they'll still protect themselves.
It's like bears here in Florida. Like they eat your trash, and then like they'll eat your dog. Well, not kangaroos won't eat your dog, but like they'll
punch
kill
it
dog.
apparently.
Yeah, I'll go out and punch a bear in the face. Don't get me wrong.
No,
I'll wear that bear as a suit right after too.
Now, what if Zyra was getting attacked by a shark, Jack?
I mean, unfortunately for me, love knows no boundaries, and I would be in that water, stabbing that shark in the eyeballs.
No, Jack would go and pry Zyra out, but then realize that he's getting attacked by
and then kill myself.
And would
like, ah, shit. What have I done?
It's like, go Zyra, go. Oh shit.
Save yourself. Live on without me.
As Nicole just looks on in horror.
Yeah.
Oh man.
Damn.
Oh my god. But yeah, I feel for that guy. But Blizzard, man, like, come on, guys. Is it really that difficult to make a Diablo 4?
On a side note, I know I'm gonna get hate for this. On a side note, a Diablo game on mobile is kind of exciting.
No, so I was having this discussion as well. I think the whole idea of it is perfectly fine. What you don't do, though, is get everyone hyped about something else that's 1,000 times better and then drop the mobile game bomb on them. That's the whole thing. Like, if they would have done a YouTube video, they could have done a little cool cinematic and gone, hey, like, doing a mobile game, whatever, and it would have worked perfectly fine. But every single person, if you watched, the Twitch chat, if you're watching BlizzCon, you're watching the Twitch chat. As soon as they walked on stage, everyone, it's just getting spammed. Diablo 4, Diablo 4. That's what everyone was expecting.
Yeah.
That's what made it hurt so much.
I mean, hype and like leaks, leaks can turn into massive hype. And then when hype is like just shoved into the dirt at a convention, I would know. I've always been hyping up Starfield and Elder Scrolls 6 from like Bethesda, and when I don't see it, I get upset. But these guys were hyped to the max. They knew it was coming.
Yeah.
They knew that today Diablo 4 was getting announced.
Needed to like say like, this is what we're working on. We're super excited for this and this in the future over the next few years, yada yada. Right now, this is what's coming out. This is what we're giving you guys, and been a little bit. I don't know.
I'm sure they're going to port it over to PC. Like I think they would be ridiculous in their minds not to. I doubt it's that hard to port it over to PC. Just change the UI, keep the graphics, update them a little bit for higher end machines, put it to all consoles. I'm sure they could. It doesn't seem that difficult to me. I mean, that would at least make some people happy because it is a new Diablo game, right? I think it's taking place between like the second and the third one, so it's definitely a new storyline. I know that there's like the same classes. I think it starts out with all 6 of them this time instead of having to wait for one to show up. Mm-hmm. And they said new classes will be coming. So if they port it over to PC, I think they could do some damage control for a little bit.
I mean, I'll be honest with you. Like, I'll play it if it's free to play. I'll play it. I'm not gonna pay for it.
And then don't forget the microtransactions.
That's in every game. When we talked about this before, and that could be a whole nother discussion for another day because microtransactions are never going anywhere.
I have it in the list. Don't worry. But yeah, I mean, I just feeling bad for that guy, and sure. It's definitely something that I didn't like to watch. It was something that made me feel a bit upset watching. But I know, Jack, that you have something you like to watch.
Oh yeah. Speaking of, you know what? I'm gonna go back a couple weeks because I was called out. Even our episode 3 or 4 was actually called "Does Jack Hate Everything?" And over the last few weeks since then, I've been super positive with my reviews and recommendations. I just want to throw it out there that I don't even think I maybe have had one in the past 3 to 4 weeks of something that I said, hey, don't watch this, right?
So are you saying that my bone to pick works?
Maybe it might change things. I don't know, but I've been super positive. And once again, this week, I have another 2 suggestions. 2 things
Nice.
to watch. So if you guys remember, if you watched last year, Netflix came out with a Netflix original Castlevania animated series.
It was great.
It was great. It was 4 episodes. The first season was 4 episodes, and they were like 23, 25 minutes. So they were super short episodes. And man, when I watched the first 4, I was like, wait, that's it? There's no more? Like I was super bummed. So like first season was really good. 4 episodes though, kind of short. Season 2 just came out this past month in October, and it is excellent. If you haven't seen Castlevania, if you haven't played the video game, it doesn't really matter. It's just an awesome standalone show. It's about a vampire hunter and Dracula and his minions and his plot to overtake the world. And it actually paints Dracula in an interesting light. You see like the reason for his madness and why he wants to kill humans and all of that, and it's actually really, really interesting. You see like a different side of him, and this isn't actually a spoiler per se, but just a little bit of information as far as that goes. The reason that Dracula is who he is because his wife, who was a human, who he refused to turn into a human because he refused to turn her into a vampire because of how smart she was and how knowledgeable she was and how charming.
Well, she also didn't want it. She didn't.
But because of all those other things, because he was a scholar and a genius first, and all of this, as well as being a vampire, he didn't turn her, and she was actually taken by the Catholic Church at the time and murdered for
being a witch, for being too smart.
And so that is the reason for his
that wouldn't happen in 2018 though.
Bloodthirst and bloodlust. And it's actually really interesting. So like it has to do with the main character of the Castlevania video game story and that whole thing. So it's super awesome. You guys should definitely check it out. Season 2 was amazing. It was 8 episodes.
It's modeled after the Dante Inferno movie, kind of like the same art style. It's definitely a cool thing. I took Jack's word for it and give it a try, and it's definitely
it is awesome.
It's a bit gory, so do keep that.
Oh, sure, it's a vampire show. So yes, definitely gory. It's a little scary. It's definitely rated mature.
No skinny jeans in this one
for language and for violence. But it's super awesome. Dracula's son is really cool. The guy that does the voice for Trevor Belmont is the same guy who played the main dwarf in the Hobbit series.
Yeah.
Oh, really?
No, not Lord of the Rings series. The Hobbit.
The king.
The dwarf king, the heir. I forget his name off the top of my head. Chives, you could look it up for me. Let me know. But yeah, it's him. Super good. And definitely watch that. Secondly, my second is another recommendation. It is another Netflix movie that I think came out earlier this year. It's called Apostle. It is.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I saw the trailer for that.
Gross, weird horror movie, horror drama, I guess, really. About a guy who goes to an island to rescue his sister from a cult, and there's a bunch of weird stuff going on. And I won't spoil any of it because it's definitely just worth the watch. It was just one of those like shock and gross, weird movies.
Yeah.
But some cool scenes and some shudder scenes.
And it takes a lot for Jack to do that too.
Yes, it does. It does. So yes, that's my second recommendation: Apostle on Netflix and Castlevania seasons 1 and 2.
So you said
I can give my blessing. They are both good.
Okay, so Apostle, though, you said that's a horror.
It's like a horror drama. Horror?
No, it's
just a horror.
It's just a horror movie.
Yeah.
It's just a horror movie. It's not. Think of like The Village, right? The Village on an island.
Yeah,
but real monsters.
Okay.
Yeah, it's like a cult. Yeah.
So what does it get on what was it? The Jack Tombstone meter?
Skulls. It was something about skulls, but I haven't refined that. It was the Jack's skull, the Scarrow skull scares. I don't know.
The Fearometer.
The Fearometer. The Jack's Fearometer. It gets 4 out of 5 skulls because the premise of it isn't that scary, but the way that they filmed it and some of the gore is just a little It's a little over
Yeah.
the top. Yeah. So
It's from my perspective too. It was a good movie. It has a great story. It's not just like a mindless horror movie, but it definitely deserves a view if you guys aren't too
if you're not too
particular about gore and everything like that. But before we end to the night, we definitely have one of our longest lasting segments on this show, seeing how we're at our 1 month and 3 week anniversary now, and that would be our
level 7
artist of the week, featured by Josh.
Dun, dun, dun. Yes. So this one I am actually gonna I'm gonna mix it up a little bit.
Korean pop.
Yes. New KDA.
Hell yeah.
Let's go.
No, this one I'm doing kind of a throwback. This is one of my a band that I grew up listening to.
Please say Slipknot. Please say Slipknot. Please say Slipknot.
Slipknot? No. Because like I said, I'm mixing it up. I'm not going as hard this week. But this was I was into these guys back in the day, and so Luch, I don't know if you'll remember this, Jack.
The Jonas Brothers.
You should know the whole band street team, where basically you could join a band street team. They would send you different posters, stickers, and stuff like that they wanted you to blast things out. And that was all before social media was a big thing. Jack, do you remember that?
Oh, absolutely.
Okay. So I was on this band's street team back in like 2002 or something like that.
Hell yeah.
The band that I am speaking of is Coheed and Cambria.
Oh, damn.
Okay. Oh, you actually,
I was a huge Coheed and Cambria fan back in the day. It's been a few years since I've actually listened to them. So I was going through and kind of checking out all their discography and everything, checking out what they have now, compared to what was the last, CD and everything that I listened to with them. Because I think the last one that I listened to was Good Apollo Burning Star 4, which came out in 2006. So I've missed out on a couple different albums. So I actually went back over this past week. So like I said, I wanted to kind of mix things up and try out a different type of band. And oh my goodness, it started bringing back all those old feelings that I had listening to these guys. They were like the first big concert that I went to. Like, because I was going to shows at, garages and basements and stuff like that for, little no-name bands. But like the first time that I went to a venue to go see a band play was to see Coheed and Cambria. So these guys, they take me way back here. And so both of you guys sounded like you are familiar with them. What are your impressions?
Oh, like Welcome Home.
Yes.
Which song is the one that's like has is it Welcome Home that has the really signature intro?
Yes, the ding 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 ding
ding. Welcome Home. Yeah. Okay. So that one, Blood Red Summer, was the jam in like 2003.
Yeah.
That one I definitely remember very, 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 very well. And I mean, honestly, you can't miss his hair. Like his hair is, now I think recently he cut his hair, right?
I don't know.
Sure. I'm pretty sure he cut his hair recently.
I deal with the music, not the hairstyles.
When you see him though, like you see a picture of him, you're like, oh, that's the guy from Coheed.
Yeah, exactly. But I mean, to me, like they're one of the most unique bands in, the style that they play lyrically. Like, I don't know if you guys are familiar with what they do with like their comic books and everything, but basically like all the lyrics in their songs are a storyline of their comic books that they're writing. So they That's cool. Have this whole series of comic books and these different characters and, and so like in their songs, they'll name these characters or this, story will play out. And you're like, okay, I may not fully understand what that is, but if you could tie it back to one of the comic books, it really makes it hit home. They do a good enough job though, that you could still enjoy them. I mean, like I said, they've been around for 20 years. they're a good freaking band. So it's not like you have to read the comic books to get into it. The comic books just take it to another level.
Agreed. Yeah. I didn't know they did the comics, so I'll have to check that out.
Yes. I don't know how difficult they are to find. I have their very first issue back in the day and everything. Like I said, I was a big Koei fan back in the day, and it brought back a lot of cool feelings listening to them again and everything. So I'm hoping those of you that aren't my metalheads out there, that if you don't know who Koei is, go out there, check them out, and have some fun with it.
Hell yeah.
Definitely at least worth a listen to.
Welcome home. Jam welcome home right now.
We should. We need to add that to our roster of sound effects. But with that, Artist of the Week, guys, you have completed level 7 of the Bonus Level podcast.
Mm-hmm.
If I had an applause button, I would scream it out the roof for you guys.
Congratulations.
But
that was an easy level, man. There was no boss. There was no boss fight at the end.
I mean, what are you talking about, man? BlizzCon?
No,
BlizzCon was a mid game boss.
I was gonna say we have that amazing lead up intro of Welcome Home that sounds like a boss fight's happening.
If it was Diablo 4, maybe, but that's not happening
for sure.
But guys, thank you so much for making it all the way down here to level 7. It's just going to keep going deeper, guys. We really appreciate all of you supporting us and being a part of this community, whether it be on social media, YouTube, or in your hearts.
Definitely. And everybody, I play on the server Dalaran, so feel free to hit me up and we'll exchange information. Of course, I only play Horde.
I know you like to party.
Yeah, if you create an Alliance character, then I'm never going to play with you. So hit me up. We'll grind together.
But guys, again, please leave a comment and a like and a subscribe on our YouTube. Please comment and send us any messages or any questions. And again, please send us your ideas on what you think Premonition is all about. We really want to hear from you guys. We want to make this into a nice thing. By the way, we do have an open Discord for chat. All right. We definitely want you guys to be a part of that. We'll try to mention that a lot more. We just started the community chat. We'd love to have you guys in there, whether you game, whether you just want to talk or hang out with a good group of people. The chat is always open. So we will put the, is Discord open? Can you just put
Discord link? I can put an invite link for sure.
Then we will have Chives get on that invite link, guys. But again, thank you so much for joining us on level 7. This is Luch signing off with the boys.
Later, taters.
See you guys.
Have a good one, guys.